everybody, welcome back to the Renewed Homestead. I'm Ben, and welcome to our unfinished laundry room. We're getting there, but through a series of things that we've had to reprioritize, we have not had a chance to get our Harvest Right freeze dryer up and running. So we are at that point where we can get it working, and we ran it through the tests. We've got it all hooked up, ran it through the test. It was not getting up to pressure on the vacuum sealing. Not the vacuum sealer, but the actual vacuum that runs through the machine itself. So we called Harvest Right, and we had to wait 4 days for a technician to call us back. And there's a very simple test to see if it was the issue you thought it was, and it was. So we're going to take you through a quick test here if you're having the same issue, if you can't get your pressure right on here. And then we'll tell you what we did to resolve it. So let's go test this real quick here. Okay, first and foremost, you're going to want to make sure you've got the proper update on your Harvest Right. You can update that through the computer. This is the proper one for ours, and we do not need to update that. So we're going to hit the leaf and go to the functional test. Now, normally when you're setting up, you would go into and hit your freeze and run it for about 30 minutes and bringing the temperature down. You want to test that first. Well, that is not our issue. Ours freezes just fine. It's in the vacuuming process. So we're going to turn this on, and it will count down. You'll see these microtors. You probably hear the pump in the background. This should come down to about 500 microtors. Ours was not going below roughly 30,000, so we knew we had an issue. So we called Harvest Right. The technician called us back, and he said, all right, we're going to do a little test for you, and we're going to go around the side here, and we're going to show you how to test this on your own. All right, so this is the shutoff valve for the vacuum sealer. We're going to put it in the on position, and when I do that, we are going to put the drain hose into some water. Now, if it starts bubbling and sucking it up right away, you know you've got a problem. So let's run this here. I'm going to turn it on. Yep. So, now the technician said that is fine. It can bring some water in there. You're going to want to make sure you leave the valve open to drain any of that water back out. But that told that technician, he's like, you've got a bad ball valve. So he sent us a new ball valve, and we're going to go ahead and replace that. We'll show you how we do that here in just a moment. Okay, and when I extended the hose back out here, that water just came running back out into my jar. You just want, when you're running that test, you want to get that water, pull the hose out as quick as possible. But it is okay to let, if some of it sucks in there, you just want to make sure it dries before you run it. So, now we need to take the old ball valve off. There's a pair of pliers. Grandpa always said, don't ever use a pair of pliers on something like this unless you absolutely have to, and then still don't use it. So, we're going to use our wrenches here. I already sized them. And this should just come off super easy. We'll hope. I'm tightening it. There we go.
Why don't you want to use pliers?
The reason you don't want to use pliers is because if you don't get a good grip, you will start stripping off the corners on the nut or whatever it is you're working on, and all of a sudden you've got it rounded off, and then it's even harder to use. So it's better to use a fitted crescent wrench for something like this. Now this was factory installed. We did not install this ourselves originally. So they've got a lot of thread lock tape in here, which is fine. And we will do the same. So I'm working in a little tight quarters here. Actually, I'm going to take this out. There we go. And then this is our ball valve that needs to be replaced. That should be our problem. So let's get the new one on here. I'm going to clean the old tape off. We will wrap it in new thread tape and put the new one back on. So we will be right back with you here. Okay, we got all the old Teflon tape off of there. I'm going to put some new on here, and we want to wind it clockwise because that's the direction that the new valve will be turning on, and that way it's actually tightening the Teflon tape in there rather than untwisting it and loosening it. So I'm going to go around a few times here. You can't see this very well, but we want to put a few good straps, go a few times around it here. It's wanting to spin on me. I'm trying to get it good and tight. There we go. Now, one thing you do want to be aware of is if you put the valve on this way, as that pushes in there to turn it on and off, you might hit the side. So it's best to turn the valve around this way so that when you're turning it on and off, it does not interfere with the side of your machine. So we're just going to loosely put this on here. And get our wrenches out and snug it down. And this valve is definitely more stout than the old one. So I know my hands are in the way. We're in a kind of a confined space here to do this, but you don't have to kill this. You can just get it good and snug. You get it to where that's faced up. On, off. And then we just need to put our drain hose back on there. Now this did not have any Teflon tape on it. There's no pressure on this side, but I think just in the interest of consistency, I might put a couple loops around on it real quick. And again, on this side, you don't have to kill this either. Just you want it facing down so that you can have your drain hose in a bucket. So that's replaced. Open, close, functions properly. So now let's run the test again and see if that was indeed our problem. We are going to run it through the functional testing again all the way through. So we're going to run the freezer. That's going to take about a half an hour. Once the temperature comes down where we want it, then we will run the vacuum side of it and see if that fix indeed fixed it. So let's get this started here. The leaves. Freeze. All right, movie magic. We're 26 minutes later. We're at negative 35. Let's turn on the vacuum and see what we get. All right, this will take a few minutes to start bringing it down, but I believe it's millitors, if I'm saying that right. We need to get down below 500. All right, it appears that was the problem. It was just the ball valve. So you saw, we got it below 500 millitors, not to be confused with your Harry Potter Minotaur. But that seems to be our problem. Now it's recommended that we run a loaf of bread or something through here because there can be some chemicals and stuff from the manufacturing process. So we're going to get those in there now, and we will be on our way to freeze drying anything and everything we can. So if you want to see a great video, very detailed step-by-step on setting up your harvest right, go see Gardener Scott. I think we'll try to put a link in to our video, to his video for you. But that was the problem, and we couldn't find this anywhere. So if you're having a problem with your harvest right and you can't get the vacuum pressure down where you need it, check your ball valve, do that water test. So anyway, hope you have a great day. I hope this helps. Put in the comments if it helped you or not, whether it helped you or didn't help you. If you have a different problem, we want to know. We want to help each other. So take care. God bless. We'll see you on the next video. Bye.